Okay guys, here's the spaghetti squash I'll be cooking today. It's called Small Wonder. This is from Vessie's, of course. Small Wonder is a small type of spaghetti squash. You can see my hands here. This is one of the smaller ones. I guess we're getting close to spring. This one really needs to be used up. Anyway, we're getting close to spring. I have a few left. I planted 2 plants 3 feet apart. They took over pretty much half the garden. I ended up with 32 in total of these. This is a smaller one. There were some a little bit smaller and most of them were slightly bigger. Anyway, all I do when I cook these is I'll split them in half. I'll scrape the seeds out. These just happen to be a nice size. My family can eat most of it and it's not sitting around for days and days. But I'd highly recommend buying this type of squash because they don't get very big. So all I'm going to do here, after I've finished gutting it, stick it in an oven with a little bit of butter on the edge and let it cook for an hour. Just take this stuff and throw it in the compost. I'll just cut the one bad spot off here. I guess you could do it after it cooks, but whatever. There. Good eat. I have real butter, but it doesn't spread as easy, so just butter the edges to keep it from drying out when it cooks. Some people like to put brown sugar or whatever on the edge. I'll do that with the winter squash that I grew. But this here is I'm going to be using it as a spaghetti substitute. So really the butter is just going to keep it from drying out. Somebody told me that it's good to use soya sauce on the edges as well. And I'm going to try that one of these days, but not today. It takes an hour, of course, to cook this in the oven. You can cook them in the microwave. I see my filthy dirty oven here. So for an hour at 350 is about how long it takes to cook that. You can cook this in the microwave. There's recipes that show you how to do that, but one thing that you want to make sure of is it's just like a baked potato. You want to make sure that you poke holes in it, or else you could have some negative results. Here's a quart of the tomato sauce I guess we'll be using tonight. I'll show a video of how I make that later on in the season. Here's some of the stuff we'll be putting in the sauce. We got some peppers from the garden and some purple onion from the garden. Okay, so I kind of basted it with a teaspoon. I just pulled the butter up from the bottom, the pools in the bottom, and I just kind of basted the edges twice, and it's an hour later. I just pulled it out and I'm going to let it sit for a little bit so it's not screaming hot when I try and handle it and scrape it out. Okay, so anyway, you take the squash. It's cooled off a little bit now, I can handle it. So if you've never had spaghetti squash before, they call it spaghetti squash because when you scrape it, it kind of comes out stringy like spaghetti.
Like we're having today.
Maybe I'll get a better shot of this here once I'm done scraping this one. So it looks kind of stringy like spaghetti. I don't know whether you can see that, but I'll get a better shot of it. And then all you got to do is add whatever spaghetti sauce that you'd normally use on spaghetti. Mrs. Greenshed has made this stuff with hamburger and mushrooms, and all sorts of good stuff. If you're vegetarian, of course, you can make it that way. Anyway, that'll do it for today. Thanks for watching, and goodbye, everybody.